Hey guys, Josh here to let you know that InterBrews now has a Patreon page. That's right, you can lend your support to the podcast that's been going 7 years strong, bringing you the best and brightest of the craft beer scene here in Houston and beyond. And as a bonus, as a Patreon subscriber, you can get exclusive episodes of the show. That's right, we'll be doing some special interviews and episodes just for you, our supporters. So thank you so much. If you've loved the show, which I hope that is you if you're listening, then head on over to patreon.com/interbrews or interbrews.com/Patreon or anywhere you see the link. Head on over and lend us your support so that we can keep bringing you the show and make it bigger and better than ever. We appreciate it. Now, on to the show.
The following is a presentation of Stewed Productions.
This is InterBrews.
All right, that's a start to the show. Episode 197 of InterBrews. Mary?
Good morning.
Thanks for having all of us out. We'll get to all of us here in just a second. Actually, you're going to be hearing very little of me on this episode. Why mess up a good thing? You know, when you got something going, you got something going. So, Mary, thanks for setting all this up.
Yes.
We were at Thistle Draftshop in Spring, voted best craft beer bar in all the state of Texas by craftbeer.com.
Woo! Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Absolutely. Super exciting.
So,
Cheers.
to Thistle Draftshop and to all of you. And let's just go around. I'm located in the Gulf Coast region. It's taking up the room from Brownsville all the way up to Beaumont. And that's all I'll say from here on out. So, Mary, why don't you start? Introduce yourself. Let us know why we're here, and then we'll just go around the state. We're sitting at the big Texas table. So
fabulous. Yeah, this is a really cool table. It's Mary Thorn from Thistle Draftshop. I love what I do. This is the best place in the entire wide world. Best job I've ever had, and can't speak more highly about it. And you'd think I'd be talking about it from a customer perspective, but what I do in here is I really love it. And I'm actually outside. I'm east of Dallas right now. So what we're talking about is a great big Texas table that I picked up for a little or nothing and had it hand painted with the breweries on it.
yeah, you're about Texarkana.
Texarkana.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
All right.
It's fun.
Beautiful.
Well, moving up to North Texas.
Yeah, I'm north of Dallas.
Sitting in
I'm
Oklahoma.
in Oklahoma right now.
So having a so-so day right now.
This is Sydney Porter from Southern Yankee Beer Company. I don't know. Are we doing like a spiel on how awesome the beer industry is?
Spill, whatever you want, however you know.
Well, I mean, we've been open for 5 months, and last month was our best month, and January was the best month before that, and so we're moving up and keeping going and producing new stuff. We have a new beer today, new beer next week, new beer the week after that, and so we're gonna keep on momentum. Yeah.
Cool. Jennifer, up there.
Where am I? I'm in Amarillo.
Yeah, north of Amarillo.
So my name is Jennifer Edwards, and my mom, Marilyn, is here with me, and we are with Real Ale Brewing Company. We just came to hang out and have some beers and lunch, and a mic was thrown in our face, so I'm excited about this.
Sorry about that. Can't help myself.
All right, well, I'm...
Sydney, you're out.
I'm near Lubbock. My name's Claire Winder. I'm with Eighth Wonder Brewing Company. I'm their quality assurance manager, so...
Science.
Yeah, usually anything sciencey or any of those nice big science words. Something tells me Sydney's going to be giving me the eyes across the table to be like,
absolutely.
Okay, Claire, go.
All right, picking who goes first.
I'm Gale Courtney, and I'm down over here in West Texas. Big Ben Brewing is forever immortalized on this beautiful table, so that's really nice to see. I am a brand ambassador for Southern Star Brewing. I've been working in the craft beer industry now going on almost 3 years.
Yay.
Cool.
What other thing that you just told us? It's really cool.
As of this month, myself and my co-admins, Lindley Todd and Sylvia Benavides, we have reactivated, and we are co-admins now of the Houston chapter of Girls Pint Out.
Woo, woo, woo.
Woo, thank you. We're really excited to get the momentum built. You know, the momentum for women in craft beer and just women supporting craft beer in Houston's already there. So we're just looking forward to building on it and going forward with it.
Heck
so,
yeah.
Yeah, we're really excited to do that, get that started again.
Cool. And then just point that thing over there.
Hi, I'm Kate Christensen. I'm owner and founder of Beer and Body Craft Beer Girls, and we are nationwide craft beer girl group on social media and local, and you can find your local group. We do meetups and support craft beer.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a show, everybody.
I mean, one thing that we have a few people here, but when you really look at the Houston chapter, we have we have 70 plus members, but that's not including people that don't even know that we exist yet. And so we're working on growing that. But this is just a very, very small point or a small part of the women that are part of craft beer in Houston.
Yes.
And only Houston, right? So there's thousands more outside of Houston.
Hey, we're lucky in Texas. We have 3 chapters, one in Dallas, one in Austin, and one here in Houston.
Does everybody get boots? Is that a thing?
I think you have to earn boots, don't you?
Oh.
Yeah.
You earn,
have to earn them.
if you get a scholarship, then you have to do what's called a pay it forward with the Pink Boots Society. So usually that will mean either you write an article or a blog, or you do
Host a lecture.
Yeah, host a lecture, especially at your local chapter. And once you've done that, you get your boots, and you also get a Pink Boots pin. Woo woo.
Cool.
Or you can just buy them.
Or you can buy them. Yeah.
You didn't have to let everybody know.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to claim I got a scholarship. I just
These
went
are
on
special boots.
online and...
They're magic.
These
Yeah.
are magic special pink boots.
Well, yeah, the ones that you get from the Pink Boot Society, I think they have like special brewing powers. It's like you get an extra like automatic awesomeness to every one of your beers. It's like adding proverbial glitter to everything you
There
own.
you go.
Plus 10 to brewing.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I was at Brew 30 over in Cyprus a few weeks ago talking to Tiffany and Melinda, and it was right after the big Pink Boots shindig. I don't know what you called it, but in Austin.
Shindig works.
Shindig?
Conference.
Conference? Was it a it looked too much fun to be a...
Biennial conference.
Have you been to the Craft Brewers Conference?
No, that's the problem.
Because that's a big shindig too.
Yeah.
Some of us had been and remember about half of it.
Yeah, I was super, super jealous because I was like, man, that looks like, because y'all brewed a beer out at Real Ale. I've got 2 older sisters, so it took me back to when I was like 7, and they were, they're older, 3 and 5 years older than me, and so I'm like, oh, they get to do all the cool stuff, and I felt like a little kid all of a sudden. I was like, I want to do what they're doing, but I couldn't. It looked awesome. So, tell me about Pink Boots and all that kind of stuff. Like, just go on. I don't know, whoever wants to. Oh, there's food coming too. That's what happened? That's what's happening.
Well, like Pink Boots, for me, so I got into brewing right out of college, right? So this is Sydney. And I actually didn't know anything about the Pink Boots. I didn't know anything about other women in the industry. I was working in Connecticut at the time, and there was one other female brewer in the entire state of Connecticut. And so I very much felt like the odd man out in going to beer festivals, going to other events, going to Brewers Guild meetings, and wearing something comfy like a dress, and then being looked at like I have 15 eyeballs on my forehead. And it was very odd, but when I found the Pink Boots, it not only gives you a sense of community, but it also supports more knowledge. It supports pushing limits. And not just saying like, oh, I could do it, but like giving you the structure and the push from people all over the world to do something that you've been wanting to do for a long time. Whether that's getting a scholarship to get more education, going and looking for other women in the industry and like talking to them, or being confident about just being a female beer drinker and knowing what you're talking about. Like something that's just simple like that, and not having to, throw out knowledge to a bunch of dudes, and you just talk about beer with somebody that's in the industry or not in the industry, just talking about beer is something that's very unique, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a dude approach. This is the one part I feel comfortable talking. It's a dude approach to kind of size up. It's not, and it's anybody. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Where do I stand next to this person with my beer knowledge? It's like, it's like when I hang out with Kennedy and Mike, I'm like, yeah, I got these guys. I know way more about beer. But then I go talk to somebody, you guys at the breweries. I'm like, I don't really know a whole lot. And then you just kind of like a pecking order or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's a very dude approach, and it just kind of gets. I don't know. We just kind of do that. So. I don't know. It just, that's,
See, I
kind of do it.
And I would say that Pink Boots has created the exact opposite environment. So if you're brand new and you're coming into Pink Boots and it's like, hey, I don't know a whole lot about this, nobody's going, well, why?
Yeah.
No, we're like, awesome. Let's talk about it.
Every single one of our meetings, somebody announces an event, they've created a new beer, anything. We're that group that's constantly cheering, like, hell yeah.
So, okay, this is something that I've definitely learned for sure, is that women are aggressively supportive of each other. And so it's amazing to see that build on each other, you know?
My introduction, this is Gale. My introduction to Pink Boots is actually, I have to thank Claire for it. Because when I met Claire at one of the Texas Craft Brewers Guild meetings in Houston, and and she told us all about Pink Boots, and I was just floored, and I was so surprised that an organization, I had heard of Girls Pint Out and other organizations, but I was floored that there was this organization for women working in craft beer that was available. And like, to go off of what Sydney said and what Claire said, not just women cheering on, but we're learning from each other. And we're learning on all different aspects of the craft brewing industry. We're not just learning about brewing, we're learning sales. We learn for each other's experience in sales, customer experience.
Marketing.
Oh my God.
Everything.
The terrifying subject of marketing.
Graphics, media, marketing, sales, any aspect that you come across and deal with and work in any kind of business, or in especially brewing, we all learning from each other and in the same time supporting each other's efforts.
Yeah.
So to back up a little bit about Pink Boots, it was started by a lady called, her name is Terry Ferrendorf.
The immortalized human being.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
She's wonderful.
She is. She gave a really nice speech while we were there at the conference, it was January actually, and she talked about her experience being a brewmaster at one of the breweries. I was looking it up now. I don't have it in front of me. But then a Steelhead Brewery in Eugene, Oregon. So she was brewmaster up there for about 19 years. She quit that job one day and decided to go on the road and in search of other female brewers around the country. So I started that in 2007. When she went around the world the nation, she ended up visiting over 107, what was it?
It was over 100.
Yeah, it was over 100 breweries.
I don't know if it was above 200 though. I think it was a good amount for the time, right? So
right,
thinking about the year, it was what, early 2000s? Early 2000s,
yeah. Right. And so she actually ended up brewing at 38 of those breweries and getting to know the ladies there. And what she talks about in her article is that there was so many conversations about they didn't know there was other lady brewers out there. And that's how the organization got started. And so now their original few ladies that they had start the organization is now better than 2,000, maybe 2,500 ladies.
There's more than that, because I think in the U.S. there's 25.
That's
but then
true.
You got to think of international, right? So there's definitely, surprisingly, China actually has a huge chapter.
Really?
A huge chapter. Same with
In South America, I think
Argentina. I think is the other one of the bigger not international chapters as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
2,500 members in 30 countries.
Okay.
Oof.
Okay.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And some of the premise that the Pink Boots Society stands for is women in the industry and the educational aspect of it. So she really focuses on the educational aspect. I think there's a scholarship every month, a different scholarship every month, and they're big scholarships. And some are small, some are big. Jessie,
there's one or two.
Yeah.
So depending on, because I know in October is when you can go on the big...
That's the Siebel Institute one, right?
I think there's that, but there's the trip to Germany in October.
Right.
So you can go on I think it's a 10-day tour if you win that scholarship to go around the country.
To some of the most acclaimed breweries in Germany.
Yeah.
You know.
In Bavaria. Yeah.
Fancy.
And you actually brew there.
Yeah. And learn, right? So you're not just visiting, you're actually talking about the beer process and the history of it. So Germany... everybody thinks beer, they think Germany, right? There's beer from every country and every continent, right? But when you look at Germany, there's just a sense of history and part of, the ingrained in the culture that it's really cool. And having an organization that not just like sends you with, I think it's like 25 other women from the U.S. and international. So you're not just learning about beer. You're learning about beer with other women in the industry, and you're making connections internationally. Like, that's something that you can't get in a lot of places, and the Pink Boots really just utilizes their stretch and their marketing and everything to really give even the smallest chapter a little bit of that international knowledge.
Yeah, I love the fact that I look around this Texas-shaped table, and it really is with women in the brewing industry, it's a return. It's not to what it used to be, like when it
absolutely
Yes.
beer got good when women were in charge, and then dudes were like, yeah, man, we could probably make some money doing that, and then then all that mass marketing and everything the 70s took this long to fix it. And when I look around the state, it's very diverse in everybody's approach. So brewery owners, the bar establishment, science, all the super technical lab stuff that I'm super intimidated by, and marketing and all that, everything. It's not just one part.
No,
and it's really, really impressive. How often do they? Well, here in Texas, Pink Boots. How often do y'all do meetings and all that kind of? Is it like a? Because you guys are super busy.
Yeah.
All of you, everybody here. I'm like, I can't believe y'all.
You make time for things that are important.
We do. Our requirements as far as Pink Boot Society is 4 times a year. What we do in Houston, we do it once a month.
Okay.
And we made that decision to do it once a month because we want to keep that closeness and that freshness, and we try to do something that is some sort of an educational component each month, be it learning about hops or grains or marketing or brewing. We're getting ready to brew this weekend. I'm sorry, not this weekend, Friday. We're going to brew together. It'll be our first brew with this group. We'll do a Pink Boots collaboration with Eureka Heights on Friday.
Do we know what to go on? More details. Can we talk about? Can we give details?
Sure.
Do we know what we're?
So we're actually we're going to be using the Buckle Bunny wort, and we'll be taking. I think it's 5.
It's a 5-barrel.
5 barrels.
It's a 5-barrel
we're taking that
fermenter.
over. And there is a Pink Boots hop blend. So every year at the Great American Beer Festival, they do a hop rub, and then there's kind of a vote. And they decide what they want as part of this hop blend. Thank you. So this year it is 3 parts Laurel, 2 parts Glacier, 1 part Mosaic, Simcoe, and Sapbro. So thankfully, us drinking this beer right now from Real Ale that we worked on during the conference, we haven't actually had. Did anybody actually go to GABF to do the hop rub? Right. So
a couple of our members did.
I think
Not
they did,
no one
yeah.
at the table though.
Mona
Was there. Yeah.
So now we actually get to taste it in the beer to have an idea of what we're going to be using on Friday. But we're going to be doing, the Pink Boots Hop Blend Buckle Bunny Brute. So we're going to be doing a Brute IPA. We'll be adding
Science. Science.
amyloglucosidase. So an enzyme.
Wait,
that is
say that again.
amyloglucosidase.
Okay.
Fancy.
Fancy science. So that enzyme is going to take those large. They're going to take the starch, kind of truncate the end, so we end up with more glucose molecules. The yeast will be able to eat
Big
that.
sugars into smaller sugars.
Am I getting too technical already?
No, it's good. I'll be the conversion.
translator?
Yeah, you just talk and I'll be the one that translates.
And it means that we're going to end up with a drier beer at the end.
Yeah.
So we're going to get less than 1 for our gravity.
Yeah.
So it'll be like, I guess the one we've
Stupid
done.
dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
one we've done has been like 0.990
Yeah.
we've been able to get. So it gets pretty.
So even so, if you think of like the driest beer that's just natural, it's not brute, right? That beer and the malt, no matter what malt you're using, you can use different malts to get the drier feeling on your mouth, right? But every single one of those malts will leave some big chain sugars, and those big chain sugars give you the mouthfeel, that little bit of grainy sweetness in every beer, right? The point of putting this enzyme in is to get rid of all of them. So the entire beer, the entire flavor profile will be hops. And that's what we're focusing on. It's really cool. The Pink Boots blend, right, is a blend of hops. Sometimes they've done styles of beer, but in the last couple of years, they've been doing blends of hops. And that's something that's really kind of cool is this blend of hops was picked by a bunch of Pink Boots members. And we really wanted to focus on a beer that highlighted that. So, like, we're drying out the complete entirety of the beer and doing a brute IPA, so it's just all the hop flavor.
Because also when we buy these hops, Yakima is actually giving money back to the society from on a national level as well.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Hand her that mic. I don't know what's going on with stuff. Technical
Stuff and the things.
Yeah.
There we go.
Mic check.
There we go.
Hey.
Oh, there. I'm online. Woohoo. No, I was just wanting to shout out to Yakima, for their donation for Pink Boots, and also, sorry, I have to get a name drop in, but last year Southern Star did a Pink Boots blend also that raised money here in Houston, the Houston area. They did we did a wheat IPA, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was
Delicious.
amazing. Mary had it here at Thistle. It was really good. So,
Delicious.
it's very awesome to have companies, that value, women's presence in the brewing industry and that support, women being part of this industry and educating women and furthering, again, our advancement in this industry.
Right, and through this exercise, they raise funds to help with these scholarships and to promote the education in the beer business with women.
Yeah. So that money's going all back to paying the minimal fees to the people that actually, I think there's like 5 people that are doing it year round, and then every bit of that other money is going towards scholarships.
Right.
Cool. Very cool. Go back to the hop blend, because you mentioned like 5 or 6.
There's 5, yeah.
5. What do we know about those? Like, when are they being added, and when are they?
So I think we're going to be dry hopping with the Pink Boots blend.
Yeah. So
the blend is the Pink Boots blend.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was what?
So that was 3 parts Laurel, 2 parts Glacier, 1 part Mosaic, 1 part Simcoe, and 1 part Sabro.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Every time I see Sabro, I think of The Office and Sabre.
So I've wondered. So last Thursday on Liquid Lunch, other show. Sorry, we did just a smash beer out at the Grain Cellar, and I'm trying to learn more about hops, just single hops. Like, we're gonna go through.
Yeah.
He's got like 100 hop varieties, and we're gonna go through them all. So like in 17 years, we'll be.
Sounds like a good day.
What went into picking those hops to blend together? What are y'all hoping to get out of it? What do you get out of it when have y'all tried them together yet? And what do y'all?
So the blend every year is unique.
Okay.
Right. So it's picked from basically people just putting a pile of hops in different amounts and then sitting there, and if you rub it between your palms, you'll basically pop all those little lupulin glands, and that releases the oils and releases the scent and a lot of the flavor. You don't get a lot of that.
Good
some
luck
of
getting
those
it off your hands.
Yeah, no, it'll stay there forever.
Yeah.
And hey, perfume, whatever. But it doesn't give you all of the flavors, because as you add it into the bittering or into any part of your boil, it will adjust and it'll change and it'll give you some things. And that's why you really, to do some hopping, you either need to know the history of the hop, or what you can do is do hop teas. And you basically take one of those little strainers and put hot water, like boiling at different temperatures, and like dunk the hops in it, and it'll give you those different flavors. We have not done that. We're banking on our collective brewing knowledge, and just kind of going with it. And that's also the really fun part about brewing. And if you're on a smaller scale, and we're only doing 5 barrels of it, and so compared to everything else at Eureka Heights, that is a smaller scale. And if you really look at, in a lot of these, you can look at the hop description that the professionals at Yakima and Hopsteiner and all those people have really designed. But when I taste it here out of this glass, right? So this was, I believe, mostly late hop additions of the Pink Boots blend.
I think they were, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's when you're getting a lot more of that big flavor, right? You're not boiling off just to bitterness. And I get very much like a big herbal characteristic, a little earthiness, and a little bit of that citrus kind of on top. But mind you, that's only my taste buds, so that tastes a little bit different. And please,
yeah, I was getting much more. When we were talking earlier, it was very floral to me, and kind of.
And that laurel, if you look at the description of laurel, I think I brewed with it once, like 4 years ago in the very beginning of my brewing industry. But it is very herbal, floral. You know, think of like black tea and think of, you know, teas in general, as well as, you know, those really heavy herbs.
I'm actually looking forward to it because I don't have any experience with Laurel or Sabro hops.
Sabro,
Glacier, Mosaic, Simcoe, you know, like those are pretty.
Sabro,
you know,
we were like,
yeah, like that's gonna be really interesting. And a brewed IPA, you know, they're all the rage right now. So
let's taste the hops.
Yes.
Yeah, it's basically just a glass of lupulin oil.
Okay.
Brewed IPA.
I drink that. I mean, yeah. Is that? Do y'all have just lupulin oil on tap? Y'all got everything else on tap, Mary.
We don't have lupulin oil. But,
Sydney, get on
but
it.
I'll look into that.
Oil.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe like a dispenser by the sink.
Probably. There's hop oil.
Yeah.
You can go to like
get an
Damn.
oil.
go to
diffuser.
like what is that? Whole Foods. You could probably get a hop oil extract and fix your whole body by bathing in it.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. That's an interesting statement. So what we have done here is and we actually have a current sister-owned study group, and we took an evening and we took 10 different hops, and we made a hop tea out of them, and then tried them all. We each smelled them and we tasted it, and it was an awesome experience.
Awesome.
So
that's so cool.
Yeah, it is, and that's what I'd like to do a little bit more of here. I love the educational aspect. I love presenting those opportunities of just looking and feeling and touching and getting the community to know what it is that we know.
I'm looking forward to just opening the bag on Friday. Right?
Shoving your nose in it and sneeze for 5 hours. It's going to be great.
It's like when you first open that bag of coffee.
Yeah.
Like it's like that.
It's the same concept.
Yeah. Only maybe better. I don't know if it's better, but it's. Oh wait, what is that?
Free beer. It's claimed.
Do you
need one?
I mean, I can.
Snooze, you lose.
No, it's fine.
Sure?
Go ahead. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's just my show. It's fine.
Thank you.
That's good. Well, chairs. I placed all those everywhere to see how well Mary knew her place.
I guess I was thinking before we moved on, just in case.
No, yeah.
From the actual brew day, because we're looking to release on the 5th of April. So we're looking at doing an event at Eureka Heights that day.
Okay.
And $1 from every pint sold is going to go back to the Pink Boots scholarships as well.
Brutes.
Pink Boots.
So thank you,
Why
Eureka
didn't I
Heights.
do that? Why didn't I vote for that name?
We want to thank Eureka Heights so much. Lori Motes, Shelly Eschenlob, Georgie, who is one of the brewers there. They're all part of Pink Boots, and they're always very gracious and always hosting events. And so shout out to Eureka Heights, and we hope everyone comes out and tries our brewed IPA.
I'm so excited. We're all going to be there. We're all going to bother you. We're all going to talk to you. Talk to us about beer.
Real quick, I'm going to say I've been distracted across the table there in North Texas with all the food.
Looks like a grilled cheese.
The grilled cheese and the tomato soup. It's a little chilly today. My cohorts, Mike and Kennedy, both, I tried to get them to come out. Mike's a little under the weather. I told him to come get some of that soup and a sandwich and make him feel better. So hopefully he'll be here later. But that's like a warm hug on a plate. So come down to Thistle and get yourself. What are we just handing out beer menus?
I think so.
Oh,
Absolutely.
okay.
Why not?
Yeah, Mary, what do you recommend? What have you been digging on lately?
Ooh, you caught me on the spot. I had looked at the menu in a while.
Oh well, what? Just in general.
Describe.
Anything?
Maybe not a specific beer.
Yeah.
Then just like what's your
Style?
your soul feeling on beer wise?
The weather's been all over the place. It's kind of hard to nail down one specific.
It is. We've had some really good stouts on tap, which reminded me we had an old friend come visit. We had the winter stout from St. Arnold.
Wait.
Oh yeah, they brought it out. It was nice. Typically you go for the stouts, which reminds me we haven't had our stout conversation.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Stout.
But then I do a lot of IPAs. I won't lie.
Yeah.
But not necessarily the hazy, the true IPAs, the double IPAs. Had an Endeavor the other night. It was like,
right.
It's like melted my heart.
I haven't had one of those in a long time, and I need to go get one.
Yeah,
Oh.
it was like bringing back memories. It was delicious, very malty.
So actually,
hoppy.
sorry, that's how Mary and I met. Is I also used to work at St. Arnold as well. So I was a brewer for them in 2011 to 2013.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if you
first female brewer there.
Hell yeah.
Woo,
Really?
woo, go Claire. I didn't know that. Oh, nice.
Well, you look at the Houston scene. I mean, a
Back
lot
then?
of places were birthed out of
Of St.
St.
Arnold.
Arnold.
Yeah, I have to
Yeah.
admit, back then it was one of those like all by
Rite of
myself.
passage.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Thank you.
I can't sing, but I tried.
I mean, you didn't let it stop you. Keep going. It's fine.
That's all I know, so I can just sing that over and
But-
over again.
But yeah, looking back on it, so there was no Pink Boot Society in Houston then. I was just kind of like
What year did you say? 2000?
11 to 13.
Okay. The timeline and
No, not that long ago.
well, it's not. Well, it is.
It is actually long. I was honestly thinking like 2011 is when I graduated high school.
Oh,
Are you
my
illegal?
goodness.
Can you
I
legally
know,
drink beer?
exactly.
How old are you?
I think I'm actually probably the youngest one at this table right
Way
now.
to go, Sydney, making us feel all.
Yeah, I'm
Aging us.
26.
See, this is why I went
As of,
to
like, 2
university
weeks
in
ago.
the UK,
You-
so I could just start drinking at 18.
I was gonna say you probably don't even remember when there was no beer in all of Houston. There was
Oh,
like-
God.
I remember
No.
those days.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, my family moved.
Beer desert.
So I'm originally from the UK, but we were living in Germany, and we moved to Houston in '94. And
Oh yeah, that's the year St. Arnold opened.
a bit earlier. Actually, we moved a bit earlier than that. But when we moved, my dad had this meltdown moment of, "Oh my God, what have I done? There's no beer here."
Yeah.
So when St. Arnold opened, that is when I met Brock because I was at a beer festival at about 7.
I was gonna say yeah.
And it was just kind of like, we have to be here. We're English. We drink beer.
Fate. That's what that is.
And I guess that was it. My dad just put me on that path for life that it's like beer industry.
Yeah.
And now I get to share it with all these lovely ladies.
That gives me. I've got 3 daughters, and I've been homebrewing with them. They're 12, and the twins are 10. And there's a picture at the old St. Arnold Brewery. Maybe you were there
I
at the time.
very much was.
Yep.
But with my daughter, she's maybe 7 months old. Just hanging out in her little dress. And it was like we were waiting in line, no air conditioning, but it was fine. I think it was a cool day. It was 80, 85 or so.
Worth it.
Yeah, totally worth it.
Heck
But,
yeah. That's
But-
how I learned.
I'll never forget my first visit to St. Arnold in 2009 in their old brewery, and I think by then they had already secured their new location. And that was actually the weekend or the time when Michael Jackson had passed away. So they were, there was songs and everything. And so it was a very festive, hot environment, but it was really neat, and that just opened Texas Wheat, first craft beer I ever had.
Yeah, there we go. I knew there was
Yep.
a connection here.
Oh yeah.
That was my.
I did like shed a tear when they discontinued that beer.
And then they
I
brought
did.
it back as the icon just to tease you a little bit.
Yeah,
And now it's gone again.
I have a 6-pack at home that I will never open. I'm just gonna stare at all the time.
It's a great
yeah.
beer.
Yeah, it's my first craft beer.
Our
Yeah.
great Pink Boots capers, we go in to steal the recipe for Texas Wheat.
Right?
We could probably do it.
Yeah.
Talking about Pink Boots, we do. I don't know if it's been said yet, but Mary and Claire are our admins for the Houston chapter,
As
and
well
they
as
are,
Georgie.
and Georgie,
Jessie.
yes.
And Jessie.
And Jessie.
Yeah.
There's 4 that are like collaborating together.
I love it. Even so they really do take the lead and keeping us together, keeping us motivated, and keeping us
Organized.
active. Exactly. So and also I when I joined, Heather who's co-owner of Eureka Heights was an admin with Mary. So it's our chapter is relatively young.
Very young.
Yes, but for a young chapter, we do have a lot of members and a lot of participation and
Growing.
Exactly, exactly, and a very strong force in here in Texas.
We're only 2 years old. Because I remember
Less than
that.
2. We're less than 2.
I think
about
we're
a year and a
2.
half.
No, it's 2 years old. You know why I know that? Because actually no, that's a lie.
August,
No,
I
it's a
thought.
year
September,
and a half.
yeah. Yep.
Oh, my mind is blown. Wow. Okay.
Real quick, we just got another round. What's
Yes.
everybody drinking?
Oh, I'm sticking with the
Real Ale Pink
pieces
Boots
of
blend.
Real Ale
Texas.
Pink Boots. Is that
Yep.
Pieces
Yes.
of Texas.
Pieces of Texas, me
I
too.
love-
what did you just get over there? Something.
I got a brown ale, the
Oh.
Brooklyn brown ale.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Nice,
cool.
warm, and toasty.
I was gonna say it's cool outside. It's not. Yeah.
This
Same?
is it. This might be
Pink
the end
Boots?
of winter. Quick, get them in.
For sure.
What'd you pick?
I don't know, Mayor. What did I get?
You got the Southern Yankee Red X.
Yay!
All right, if somebody's got to do it, I guess I'll be the
Look at that color. You can't. I know we're on radio, but look at that. That's amazing color.
Yeah.
Red X
It's-
is
yes.
magic. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think it's probably been like a month or so since you've had that because you did your show last Wednesday at my brewery, and
Yes.
we had you had actually a few of our new beers, and then we have another one that's
Oh, and we
coming
had
up.
one at the Grain Cellar as well.
the Juice Pop.
Juice Pop
Yeah,
was there.
the Juice Pop's over there.
It helped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
no, of
getting
course.
Southern Yankee-fied.
Yes.
No, it's
Slowly but surely, we'll take you over.
I mean, that's fine.
That's all right.
with it.
Hey, it's
I mean,
good
whatever.
beer.
It's fine. If that's what you want to do, I mean, go right ahead.
Our pieces of Texas from Real Ale that we're drinking right now, Real Ale hosted us, the Pink Boots Texas chapters, the Thursday before the Pink Boots conference. So Claire and I were there all day brewing. So it's pretty cool. I work on the more sales marketing side, so I don't get to brew very often. So it's really neat to sit back and drink a beer that you brewed and you had a hand in picking.
That's a trip, right?
So they brewed an American IPA with the hop blend.
The 2018 hop blend.
Yeah, that Real Ale is a really cool place.
Yes.
Like, it's just magical. Like, just the view and the whole atmosphere out there. And
Tim Schwartz, their COO and one of their head brewers, was so nice and took us on a wonderful tour and stayed with us the whole day. We brewed, and we brewed on their pilot batch system, and that place is, like you said, it's amazing.
They have a beautiful facility.
It's just mind blowing. I couldn't believe it.
All right.
Money on money.
It's exciting.
All right,
Yeah.
Gale, let me ask you, since you've got the mic in your hand. On this show, typically we talk to brewers because they have the beer, and so that's typically like, hey, you want to talk? Okay, you got the beer, right? Okay, great. This will be a great comment. But on the sales side, you're out there in the community talking to vendors and bars and places and all that stuff. Your personal experience doing sales and all that kind of stuff.
As a woman.
Well,
yeah.
right. So, yeah. I'm just saying, how long have you been doing it?
So my role with Southern Star, and I have a minimal role also with Brazos Valley. I am a brand ambassador, so I do work part-time for them, and I do mainly for Southern Star, but I do work...
I'm going to interject because don't cut yourself at that, because it's not
true,
a minimal role.
No, yeah.
Being the face-to-face, being the face of a brewery in any aspect is a
So
major role.
Yeah.
So don't say
true.
minimal.
Sorry. So I'm a brand ambassador. I do most of my work consists of pint nights, festivals, and in-store demos. And really, with what I've seen in the market, and what I've noticed is, a lot of the curbside shopping, I'm happy to just see customers in the store coming down the beer aisle.
Yeah.
And, just being able to talk to them and, hey, did you know we were the first craft beer to can craft beer in Texas? And, our slogan is not, we were the first. It's like we were the first that did it right, and, and get people talking, this is a local business. This is your community, and that, even for people who don't necessarily are craft beer fanatics or fans, or who might go for their, big beer, that hearing them say that, or hearing someone tell them this is a local business, you're supporting your neighbors, and this is a wonderful product to support, is, that to me, that's one of the important parts. That's kind of like my gateway in for customers who aren't, who are maybe shopping down the wine aisle instead of the beer aisle at HEB. So first of all, I'm just grateful to see people, because curbside shopping and grocery delivery, that has taken a lot of people out of the supermarket.
Yeah, that's true. Everything's changing rapidly. I mean, when you think about, like breweries the size of St. Arnold and breweries the size of Southern Star, could you open one of those today? I mean, maybe if you were that guy that just won the $1.5 billion lottery.
As I'm looking at Sydney as she is shaking her,
Regional breweries don't, if you don't already have an established bit,
brand.
So St. Arnold, established brand, St. Arnold, Southern Star. If you don't have that already, even Real Ale I'd probably say is definitely an established brand.
Most definitely.
They're something that people knows. There's no search. It's just like, it's a new beer, or it's something Old Faithful, whatever. It's good. But when you try and open a new brewery, if you're trying to be a regional brand, you better have $15 million in your back pocket. And if you don't try.
Yeah.
The moral to that story is they all start small.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody that started big.
Grow organically.
Yeah, that was then... Everybody's, I think, is a little suspicious of that. If you start real big. It's like, is that really craft?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it is. I don't know, but
it can still be craft, but it just means that you have really, really big pockets.
Yeah, and that's fine, but I don't know. Just for my money to go to the tap room, go to the brewery, know the people. That's my favorite part of doing the
exactly.
show, and
Exactly.
that's why I keep doing it. I've made so many friends, and
I have to admit, I agree with you. If I were to go to a supermarket and be like, where the hell did they come from?
Yeah.
I'd prefer to just be like, oh, I've never seen that before. They've managed to get one beer in here. Let's give them a shot.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of look into who they are. At least you can go online now and read their backstory, read who the people are.
I think that's where craft beer in general is going, though.
Yeah.
It's going back to, the pub style, the English style,
the microbreweries.
the German style, right? The corner brewery, the town brewery, the neighborhood brewery.
Third place kind of deal.
The third place. Yeah, we were talking about this last time, right?
There's a word for that. I don't remember what it was. But
being
it's a thing.
able to have your local, maybe not like bar. It's not where you're gonna go like just get shit faced or whatever. But it's another community space.
Yeah.
Right.
There's whenever I go see, so my family's still all in the UK, obviously I don't sound like it, but there's the Village Club that you'll go to. There are 6 beers on draft, and if their same beer is there the next weekend, it means it's not very good. Because those 6 beers will alternate every single weekend. It's all real ale, they're nano and microbreweries, but it means you get to try all this stuff.
Yeah.
And the first time I took my husband in there, he's like, I love this stout, this is great. And the owner just went, you want to meet the brewer? He's in tonight.
Yeah.
So it ends up being this great neighborhood connection that I don't
Beer
see a problem
family
with.
Experience. And I think that's what our customers are looking for as well. They want the experience. They don't want the same thing anymore. They want to get to know the people, get to know the beer, get to enjoy something new all the time. And that's why the small breweries are so important. And if they grow to get big, like St. Arnold's or Southern Star, well, awesome.
Well, once you get to that big size, it's really, really difficult to
different
keep
game.
up with the new beer, right? So that's why flagship February started, right? It's the people that the good beers that people are just like usually. That was not a word. They used to just go get like a 6-pack. Yeah, whatever. But now the craft beer community, like the core people, not just the people that come in because they want to have a good time, but the people that are like diehards. They rarely go for the flagships. They go for the newest thing. They go for the new one, right? And you can't do that on that size. It's very difficult because you're trying to sell 120 barrels of beer, and a barrel's 31.2 gallons, right? That's a lot of pints. And you can't do it. You can't flip beers that quickly, especially with TABC laws in Texas.
And our current beer laws.
And beer laws in general. Right?
Hopefully that'll change. Hopefully it'll change. Go Craft Pack.
Yeah. We're trying to combat a statewide, basically, we have our toe in the door. And we're trying to get our whole body through to get the new beers out quick and what customers want. It's very difficult to get it out of the tap room.
I just got a visual of you halfway through the door with your face mushed.
That's exactly yes. That is exactly what is happening.
Gale, I need to do a bit of gushing real quick. This past weekend, my wife found a blood belt in the. Okay, so I had 4 refrigerators. I may have a problem.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You're amongst friends here. You don't.
All right. So I've got
average.
I've got the chest freezer in the studio for the keg beers, and then I've got the one in the laundry room for just drinks, and then the one in the garage for fermentation, and then we have eggs apparently or something, and the one in the kitchen. But there was one out in the garage because the one in the laundry room went dead, so I had to panic, had to disperse all the beers, and I had way too many. Because I'm just carrying them. But anyway, there was a blood belt left out in the garage in that refrigerator, and my wife, she's like, what do we got? And I was like, well, I don't know. You have to go look and see. I don't remember. And she found that blood belt, and she's like, what is this? I was like, you've had that before. But then she's just like, you got to go get more of this. And she just gushed over that beer. It was like, she loves like double IPAs and things like that. But that, it was just like this connection in her soul that she just gushed over and over. She just kept telling me, I'm like, is this how I sound to you most of the time? I see why you shake your head at me. All right, I get it. You like the beer. It's great. Okay, 4 hours later, she's still talking about it. So anyway, Blood Belt, she just was like...
That's it. And I hate to break your wife's heart. It's mine's broken too, but unfortunately that's one beer that has been discontinued from packaging. Yes,
womp, womp,
yes, yeah. But we have some other from Southern Star. We have some other beers coming out. Like we packaged our Daisy Chain New England IPA, which is not on the too much hazy side. It's a 6%, New England IPA. Like
you may call it a juicy
IPA.
IPA.
Exactly. And I'm just like, how no hot burn? Like, how is this possible? Like, yeah. and then we have some other products coming. We have some new products coming out. We have a strawberry blonde that will hit the market later on this year. But since your wife loves that blood orange, our girl Jennifer right here is coming out with a new blood orange IPA.
Wonderful.
Well, we could go enjoy that in the new section of the tap room that you guys just knocked down the wall and got it all.
So we'll release
up.
the blood orange. I hope it turns out, but we will release that for our 1 year anniversary coming up end of the month.
Can't believe it's been a year.
Yeah, can you believe it?
Well, no, I just no.
We did our first interview like the month before we opened.
Yeah, we were just sitting in the office. You're like, we're gonna brew, I promise. Sat there across the table, like I believe you. Now we had some beers, and it's so a year. That's crazy. It's crazy. Like you're talking about you're 14 or however old you are, and you were talking about how
I'm not 14.
you started in Connecticut when you were 13 and a half, and but like brewing.
You picked on me first.
The brewing.
That's true.
The brewing timeline is so much. It's more than dog years. I don't know what it is, but it's like the life of a brewery.
A year is honestly in this a lot of people keep calling it the brewery bubble. I don't really believe that, honestly. I don't think so. There's so many people in Houston. Craft beer is only going to get moved upwards. I mean, there's going to be more competitiveness for like quality, innovative stuff, which is great because that kind of stuff breeds new and better stuff, right? But, being a year old is a huge thing, and I congratulate you because it's terrifying. And being only 5 months in this, I can tell you that it's terrifying, and you're putting your entire life into this. I definitely have, cried a few times in the brewery, but I think that's natural.
Well, anytime at
Surely that first year's gotta be.
anytime at a new job, how long does it take you to like figure out everything, like the people and kind of the where you're at and all that kind of stuff? It takes a while.
A year.
Yeah, at least.
At least a year.
Yeah.
Well, what about when you're opening?
Thistle Draft's a year and a half, right?
Yeah.
A year and a half now?
We're about 15 months old.
Okay.
Think of all the things you've changed and tweaked, but all the things you've done since you've been open, Mary.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Classes and the comedy nights and the music and the festivals.
beer festival.
The new beer festival
Yes.
that's coming in May.
Yeah, May 18th.
May 18th. So we did a beer festival in October. We had 36 breweries.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. It was really awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to do
Wasn't
it again.
that Sydney's first? That was
my
Southern,
first. It was the
Southern
first
Yankees.
Southern Yankee Beer Festival, and I will tell you right now, I've been in the beer industry for 4 years. I've gone to lots and lots and lots of beer festivals. Hands down, top 10 best run beer festivals I have ever been to.
Yeah.
Organized. People were happy and chill, but nobody was sloppy.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nobody did something crazy. There was always something new. There was stuff to look around. You got to talk to people. There was food. It was thank you
And
for
the
doing it.
facility-
Thank
just the
you.
facility.
Thank
It's
you.
not outdoors. I mean, it's
Yes.
outdoors, but it's not.
You had the best of both worlds.
You had
Yes.
you had 30 breweries here, right?
36 breweries here.
Yes,
So-
and not only that, Mary also raised money for Craft Pack.
Yes.
With the VIP room, so that that was amazing.
Yeah, it was a truly fun experience. We're on our way to have at least that many breweries this time. I'm hopeful.
What's the date? Do you have the date?
May 18th.
Yep,
May
we'll be here. I'll be
Okay.
here.
Mark your
Excellent.
calendars. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's definitely a thing to go to. No matter what's happening
Yeah.
on that day. I don't even know if there is something happening that day, but you should go to the beer festival.
The beer festivals. There was a time before, like I don't know, like there's been like a morphine of beer festivals. Like, it used to be bigger is better.
Yeah.
And now I look at as I get a little older, a lot older than you said, like way.
I'm like 50 inside. Okay.
But like when it's a huge crowd, I'm like, I'm good. You know, I'll wait. But it's the size of the one that it was done here in October. It really was perfect. I mean, you got to talk to people. You didn't have to yell. But there was everybody was here, like everybody that
even Dan Crenshaw was here.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, it was cool, and this is a great place.
I agree. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm
glad you felt it.
We're going to expand the footprint too. We're going to go straight back, and we're going to encompass the whole area of this building here.
Yeah.
And try to make it a little more accessible inside, so people have places to sit. But we'll have a bunch of breweries on the outside.
Maybe set up bleachers for the kitchen window.
There you go.
That's one of the things I love. You can come in here and watch them cook, and they're just in there just.
It's called the fish bowl.
The fish bowl,
but they just turn out delicious food.
Their rhythm was so good in October. They just put out some really awesome brats and chickens, and they just did
the
nice.
Tacos were amazing.
Tacos,
they were so good.
Yeah, tacos. I haven't eaten lunch yet. You're just.
I know we're
Jennifer,
subliminally
just reach over and grab. Jennifer's on her phone.
Yeah.
Reach over and grab that.
And speaking to the unity of of women, not only just women, but the craft beer industry in all or in total. You'll find a bunch of Pink Boots Society members out here volunteering and helping Mary that day.
Absolutely.
Because Mary is awesome, and we're all what the theme of your craft beer was, for the love of craft.
Right.
And that's what we wanted. Her first beer festival. Well, we want every craft beer festival to be amazing, but especially Mary's, because she had 36 breweries here in this space, and this was Thistle's first craft beer festival. So it's like we all pulled in for her, and we'll be here again in May.
Yeah.
This is what we mean. This is aggressively supportive.
Yes.
Right? Like the week we opened, we were at this beer festival. I mean, like this is the kind of aggressive supportiveness that I like. And yes, I think guys are totally supportive of each other, but they're also a little competitive. But they're not like with women. We all know that we've been freaking fighting, and we're trying to get in here, and we're doing it, and we're pushing and showing our best. And then being able to have that, and then also have women be like, yeah, girl, like, you are doing your best. Like, hell yes. Like, that, it feels so good.
Do you growl at them like that?
I do.
I would borderline
really do.
say our meetings sometimes overrun because we don't account for the time that we want to cheer other people on.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
We're on a time limit for those
No.
meetings?
No, really?
Time limits are overrated.
Yeah.
Time limits are for radio, James and Chad.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all good.
I love those guys.
Yeah. I mean, if you're into, commercials and radio and whatever.
I mean, it sounds silly, but I guess I was one of those women in high school that didn't have female friends, like, ever. All through university, I was in the computer society and like the Real Ale group, so
but we had
mainly a bunch of dudes.
But we had the best slumber party in Claire's hotel room at the Pink Boots conference.
I was actually sitting there just like, I'm 31. This is the first time this has ever happened in my life, that there are like 7 other women in my room, and I'm not sure what to do.
That's a great segue to talk about the conference and how important that conference was. One, it was the second time they did it, and they decided to do it biannually, and I think that they've done it biannually because of the attendance might be better by doing it biannually, but they held it in Austin, so we had phenomenal support from Texas ladies. Our group, I think we were at 18 people that went, something like that.
Yeah.
We're 15.
Tiffany Ritchie with Brew 30, she went in 2017 to the first conference. It was a celebration of Pink Boots' 10th anniversary. And then it was such a well-received event, and that was in California, I believe, in San Diego.
Georgie from Eureka Heights went there too, in San Diego.
It was such a well-received event. They're like, oh, we're going to do this again. So 2018, it was... No, I'm sorry, 2019.
2019, it was Austin.
2019, so it's the biannual conference. So we're going to have it every other year from now on. And it was a sellout.
It was a sellout. Like 200 plus ladies. They focused on both the financial side as well as the HR marketing, and then very deep into the science of beer. So
yeah, we had so it was more of kind of a marketing and sales side and stuff like PR that some of us aren't very good at. But then we had a technical track as well, so you could kind of split the room and what you were going to, and it ended up. So I was more on the technical side, but we had like sour panels from Jester King and Blue Owl. We had
a social media panel with Hops and Grain, Hop Culture. Priscilla from St. Arnold, the marketing manager there, she was also part of Pink Boots. She guided that panel.
And we had Jessie from St. Arnold also did a tasting panel. So she was going through all the very in-depth tasting. She's sitting at the bar and she needs to get it over here. She thinks she's escaped us.
And of course we had a wonderful keynote address from Julia, who is the craft beer director with the BA, with the Brewers Association.
Oh, yeah.
Very motivating.
Julia,
starting us off on the right foot. And then you have to have your mandatory off-flavor course by Siebold, right afterwards. So, and then we had a couple more, large, talks. A really good one about diversity
and inclusion,
and inclusion in the craft beer industry, and then we broke off into our tracks.
Cool.
It was amazing the number of breweries that were there too. We had breweries from Hawaii. We had one from Canada.
I met a lady from Peru while I was there. Yeah.
Oh yes, Peru. I remember.
She was awesome.
She was so nice.
So Jessie Smith with St. Arnold is here.
Yeah, Jessie, you weren't here for the beginning, but you have to introduce yourself and sing your favorite song. So if you're, you can just pull that thing off. We'll just unwind it a little bit. There we go. Perfect.
Okay. Well, hi, Jessie Smith. I work in the lab at St. Arnold's.
What were you drinking, or what are you drinking?
So I guess it's the beer that we brewed with Real Ale. Is that on tap?
Yes.
The Pieces of Texas, and it's pretty great.
All right. Consensus is delicious, everybody.
Delish.
I don't know if anybody said though, but Jessie's also a Pink Boots scholarship recipient.
Yeah,
she is indeed.
So she actually did the scholarship shenanigans.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I was in Fargo, North Dakota, and I did a malt and barley quality course, and it was awesome. Went to an Anheuser-Busch malt house. It was really cool.
That is cool. That's, we give the big guys a lot of shit, and they deserve it. But they, as far as like the scientific side and the consistency side,
the brewing side is something different than the law.
Yeah.
Right? The way they handle things in the industry is completely different than the actual brewing side. Because the actual brewing side of it
as well.
is like brewing magic, because the way they're able to brew it all around the world with different water, with different ingredients, and get the exact same thing is something that is incredibly difficult to get to.
I've managed to go on the tour for their facility on I-10, and I will admit I was standing in the double doors for their lab, just kind of sitting outside like, let me in. I want to see.
You have that many GC mass specs?
I know, right? I think they have like 6 in there.
I don't even know it.
Yeah.
What did you GC?
GC mass spec.
Oh yeah.
Science.
Gas chromatographs.
This is I can't believe they do
Science.
that.
It's basically
not just me.
lots and lots of money to make the beer what you're drinking, right? So like for a scale like me, I don't really even have a microscope. I kind of just do things based on sensory a lot of times. I literally taste my yeast. I've been trained. I trained myself to taste my yeast to see how healthy it is. I can't tell you exactly, but I can tell you if it's not good or if it's good still.
Like just take
Why
a shot?
don't you take a shot? But like you can take your pinky. You can kind of taste it a little bit. But like what they do is they basically take the big guys and make that 120 barrels and bigger count.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Make sure it's exactly where it needs to be.
Okay.
With science.
All the science. With all of it. They do all the stuff.
Science.
Jessie, were you the second female in the brew house?
When I first started, I was the only woman in production, which was a little frightening at first. But
when was that?
When was that? 2015.
Okay.
But Claire had been a brewer before.
I missed you.
Just ships passing in the night. And then we did have a female brewer for a while, so we had some lady representation. But and now we do have another woman brewer, so it's kind of nice.
Also,
yes, Pink Boots member also. So we're trying to get all of them in.
Well, okay, stats. This conversation came up the other day, and I was always, because there's so many breweries opening, and I try to do shows everywhere, try. Sometimes it's easier than.
We're getting a ghost.
No, it's fine. Mary just. Yeah. No. Well, I've done that.
I didn't want the door to slam.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You okay? Didn't take your ear off, did it? No, it's fine.
I didn't want it to take off everything else.
No, it's fine. If those headphones had broken, you could go to InterBrews.com/Amazon. And,
Cool.
and we'd get a little bit of a kickback.
They're working good.
Yeah. All right. So let's the stats real quick. Women in the Houston craft beer industry. So owned. I mean, we've got.
we have 4J right here.
Owned.
Yeah,
4J,
Sydney,
Southern Yankee.
We got.
like how much owned? Because
I mean, any part. I mean, owned.
Eureka Heights.
Eureka Heights is women owned.
B52.
Holler.
Holler. Platypus Rashna. She's one of the owners.
No label. No label.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
Royos are still owners. Jennifer Royo.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Backfish, Darcy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So-
Is there?
Galveston Island.
What is it?
Galveston Island.
Is it? I
don't know.
I think it's a couple that.
I mean,
own that. Yeah.
Mark,
Galveston
yeah,
I
Island.
know
mean-
Sarah was part of the calendar there, but I think she was a brewer. Yeah, I don't know the owner.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's white.
Oh, Vallison's is family owned. Lori is
Oh yeah, that's on the south side. Yeah.
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 See, that's another thing. We're way up here in the north, way up. It's where it's snowing and the White Walkers are coming. But all the way down south, it's like a whole nother. That's what I love about Houston. It's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
It's like when I think of St. Arnold or it's like that's way down south because I'm in Cypress.
so a lot of breweries in the Houston area and surrounding areas are family owned. Like Sydney's family, but that family includes the wife, mother, sister, aunt.
And I will say, even if they're not brewing, I will tell you right now, like my mom, she didn't really agree to the brewery. She just kind of came along with it because my dad and my brother and I were like, let's do it. And we just started. But she had to go out of town last week for a family emergency, and I almost died inside. My brother and I worked, I think, 75 hours last week minimum. There's probably more in there that I just don't remember. But the people that, quote unquote, are not owners, they're not the name, the face, whatever. There can be plenty of people behind there, and a lot of them are women or support structures that if you don't have, you can't exist.
They're busting their butts.
Yeah.
and then you have establishments like Mary's. Mary, Mary Thistle Draft that supports craft beer. Tiffany with Brew 30.
Absolutely.
Hopstop, right?
Hopstop, yes. Hopstop. Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
She's actually. Well, we just did a taste tester. Not taste tester. They came over to do pick their beers for a tap takeover with them, and Rick was like, "Oh, I can't come alone. Dawn's the taste tester. Like she tastes everything and she approves things because she." They both agree that she has the better taste palate, and she actually really wants to pick them, and she cares a lot about the business. She's the driving force, and I think
general,
that's awesome.
women have better palates than
Facts.
Yeah.
Guys don't like that, but it is scientifically true.
Yeah.
Like it's science, right? Science, ladies.
Science.
Well, when I first started at St. Arnold's, the brewers were excited to have a woman's palate. They're like, yeah, we're excited to see how different it is. And it was very different, mine compared to what they would taste. And I pick up on weird things and then not pick up on other things that they got.
Yeah. It's just dudes have a dead spot, too much head trauma or something.
Yeah, well, another one of our meetings that we've done is kind of a sensory panel, kind of talking about the beers and sensory panels, and that's what Jessie leads at St. Arnold's. And would you talk about the extensive panel that you guys do?
So it's just a little bit of torture for my coworkers, but I like it. It's fun.
I love it.
Love it.
So I open it up to any employee who wants to do it, office sales, whoever, because you never know who could be an asset within your brewery. And we do all flavor trainings, and you don't have to buy kits that are expensive. You can do grocery store spikes and just kind of figure out if there's, or even if you just have a bad beer, train them on that and what they're getting.
What do you use at the grocery store?
So you can get imitation butter. Just
Diacetyl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your diacetyl spike.
Whatever you want to call it.
Same with imitation banana flavor. That's your isoamyl acetate. But I've done literally strips of cardboard and a pitcher of beer, and that demonstrates like oxidation papery. Like
there's somebody at the Cicerone program right now. Like she's ruining that.
Figuring it out. And there's a couple
that stream of income is gone.
But it really does like translate the flavor without necessarily having to buy a Roxa or Siebel. And I mean, those are super effective and they do a good job. But if you're just starting out, like, here, this is what this kind of tastes like.
Okay.
And you have to train yourself, right? So I mean, if you don't keep up with your tasting palate, if you don't keep up with your training, and you can like, even me, I'm hitting myself because like I'm thinking about like, oh my gosh, I really need to do that because it's been over a year since I've done a complete off-flavor tasting, and that's something that for me I consider is a big issue. I need to do that like ASAP. So I'm working on getting myself trained. But if you don't constantly train your palate and get your tongue and used to tasting those, even in very minute amounts, you're not going to be doing your job as well.
Okay, so when you're figuring out one for oxidation, do all boxes taste the same? Is like Amazon a little bit
I just
has an
did
earthier
Amazon.
flavor with like FedEx?
Amazon was pretty good, I gotta say.
Yeah. And do you like crush it up and randle it through a box, or do you
I literally just cut up strips of the box because I needed something for sensory panel very last minute. Cut up strips from the box, dipped it in a pitcher of lawnmower, and smelled the strips and was like, oh, this is bad. This is great. But then the beer itself tasted like papery oxidation. I was like, okay, this kind of works.
Cardboard fibers.
So Amazon, you're doing it right.
Okay. They have the finest off-flavor boxes.
They sure do.
That was little known thing there with Amazon. Which if you go to interbrews.com/Amazon, you can get your own makeshift flavor kit and a little support for the podcast. What other? Okay, so what's the one? What's the one that tastes like baby vomit? How do you?
Butyric acid.
How do you do that one? Do you
I haven't done that
like look for
one.
somebody with a kid?
I'm sorry if you don't know what that.
Yeah.
If you don't know not to put that in your
immediately.
mouth or something's wrong, like you shouldn't be in the
You
industry.
can just smell that.
If you're administering one of those tests though, and don't do that one, I feel like that's a missed opportunity. Like just to watch people have to taste.
We come across that with barrel tasting sometimes. So if we're trying all our barrels before we blend them, then it's like, here, this is a really good training opportunity. Obviously, we're not going to blend this in, but try it, get an idea of what it's like in this like really high ABV beer. But it doesn't always come up that often either. Thank God.
Yeah.
Okay, so just from cron.com, what does that say?
It says national ranking. Spring is home to best craft beer bar in Texas.
Boom.
Yay!
It's true. It's true. It's the best. It's the only one. I don't know if it's the only one with the Texas table, but it's the only one with this Texas table, which is the best.
That is accurate.
Fancy.
Yeah.
This Texas table has a history. I found it at this restaurant retail store in the back of their building, and it was standing upright.
Nice.
It was in, just kind of.
Was it a table or was it just like a thing that you put on the wall?
No, it was a table.
Okay.
They actually brought it down from San Antonio. It was in kind of bad shape, and I looked at it. Ernesto and I were looking for equipment. I looked at it and said, I'll give him $50 for it, and walked away from it. And then when we were looking at some other stuff, went and chatted with the gentleman, and he said, I asked him how much. He said $100. I said, I'll give you $50. Thought about it for a minute. He said, sure, I'll take $50 for it. That's the easy part. The hard part was getting it home.
Strap it to your car on the top.
Well, fortunately, I had John's truck, so it fit in there, but El Paso was sticking out. And so I decided not to take the freeway home because we're over here on 290 and Hempstead Highway, so I had to get all the way back here. So I took the back roads, but I had to stay in the right-hand lane, so I wasn't going to...
So it's going to knock your El Paso off.
Right. Yeah. So we sanded it down, got the gum out from underneath the bottom of it, and hired this awesome artist to put these logos on here. So I'm super proud of it. We're going to put some more logos, but this is a really fun table.
Well, the Blue Bonnets over in Big Bend, around the Big Bend National Park, apparently this year is going to be one of the greatest years for Blue Bonnets.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Has anybody done a Blue Bonnet beer, like with actual Blue Bonnets?
Can you do that?
Yeah, I'm
You
like,
can't
wouldn't
pick them.
that be illegal?
Yeah, you can't pick them, can you?
Oh.
I would not drink that beer. Born and raised Texan here. No.
Why?
Bad luck.
They're everywhere.
You're going to take a pitcher of beer to the field of Blue Bonnets and try and dip them in while keeping them in the ground.
To get the wild yeast from the Blue bluebonnets, dip the bluebonnet in a pitcher of beer.
There you go. That's one way to do it.
We that seems like a silly
Okay,
Fine after
we
that.
could totally isolate the yeast from bluebonnets.
Science.
And then
Sorry,
you could-
side science
There has
project.
to be a loophole. I think isn't it wild bluebonnets that you're not supposed to pick? So like if you grow your own, because you can grow your own.
getting a little late for that.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know.
ground, and you just pick it up.
that's where I think it's.
Like if it accidentally
I know,
got-
It
yeah.
accidentally fell over.
All right, which brewery's going to do it first?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and team up with Jessie and do this bluebonnet yeast side project. There's got to
There
be
you
something
go.
growing on it.
What is the flavor profile of bluebonnets? So
Have you eaten one?
I
not in a while. It's been a while.
It's probably going to be more the surrounding air.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
there's wild yeast just kind of chilling out on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've tried to pick flowers from around the bayou
Mm-hmm.
and get wild yeast off of that. It was not pretty.
So, because I know that Sigma's managed to do it.
Yeah.
So Sigma
Oh,
Brewing has
man.
managed to isolate from.
I'm so intrigued about
I'm not
that.
entirely
it
sure
makes
where
me
they,
so nervous.
They
though.
came to pick up from us for the Daisy Chain project, and I was.
They had it. I thought it was at Moon Tower's backyard.
Yeah.
Right?
So, which is really interesting to pick up like local wild yeast, and I mean they've managed to isolate. I was
Houston, it's
just
risky.
impressed. Yeah.
That just gives me like a little knot of like, oh God.
Well, I mean,
Because-
you've met them. They're totally willing to like.
Oh no, absolutely. And if
They're
it
awesome
turns
like
out
that.
awesome, I'm like hell yes, keep doing it. But
so excited.
I'm gonna order it if they have it. But oh God.
I just keep bothering them at this point. I'm kind of like,
Mystery
is it ready?
things
Is it ready?
and
Is it ready?
and mystery yeast, it makes me me so nervous.
Especially if you
It
get it
is
out the
exciting.
highway.
I don't know. Well, I mean, there's
highway.
okay. I'm sorry. There's beers made out of people's beard yeast and other yeast. I'm not gonna mention.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see that in the Pink Boots brewery.
No.
More in
I
the-
hope not.
more in the Brownsville area.
In
you're
the
talking about?
southern regions.
Yeah, the Brownsville.
Yes.
Harlingen. Is that what you're talking? That's where they found it. Say if a person were a state of Texas, I don't. Sorry.
That went well. Yes.
Forget it. I know. It's fine. Where's that cricket sound effect?
Oh dear.
Real quick before I forget, The Love of Beer was the documentary that 2012, I think. Maybe a little dated now, but I think they follow like the opening and starting of Pink Boots.
Okay.
It was
That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah, and a few other
Yeah.
female, like up in Oregon, like back when the first pioneers of female craft beer in America, all that time
Heck
ago,
yeah.
back in 2012, way back when.
Way back when.
I feel like Houston's not further along, but just better in general, like in every way than most places. But as far
I
as
agree.
like, yeah,
I am biased. Again, born and raised here in Houston, so I kind of love all things Houston, all things Texas. So I agree.
but I don't know.
I think we're pretty awesome.
Quality-wise, I feel like our beers are just better.
Maybe will they take? Yeah. Well,
Some of them, not all.
No,
Yeah,
I don't know.
but-
I mean, it's what I drink the most of because I'm here all the time, and I always try to drink where I'm at.
Me too.
And in general, I feel like Texas beers are underrated. That they we don't.
Yeah.
And I'm saying we as Texas beers, Texan beers, like, maybe just because it comes from Texas. I don't know that. Again, for a while we were a beer desert. We only had
The
St.
South is young.
Exactly. We only had St. Arnold, and thank goodness we had them.
I mean, we're not a spotlight state.
Exactly.
No, but we're also really young, right? So the
Exactly.
South in general has been big beers like go home state like area, right? That's the people that are into it, and
Yeah.
now we're slowly taking over, and you can see that in Atlanta, Georgia. You can see it in Louisiana. You can see it here in Texas. It's
exciting.
It's very exciting, right? So this is this is going to sound really silly when I say it, but like this is the new beer frontier, right? This is where we can do really cool stuff, innovative things that people may not have ever already seen, or taken other things that West Coast or New England has already done, adjust it, change it, and make it our own, right? That's something that's really cool, and that's particularly why I got super excited about moving from Connecticut down to Texas, because first of all, it's an awesome state. Second of all, because it's such a young beer industry that you can do really cool things, and you're not fighting, the history, right? You're not fighting California. You're not fighting Portland, Oregon. You're not fighting Maine. You're not fighting, New England. I mean, you're creating your own name. You're creating the South's craft beer, and that's so cool.
Yeah, and you can help educate others that may have only been like, so my husband's family, they are Miller Lite family.
Yeah.
And that's it. That has been most of it. And we took down Weissheimer for them and so my brother-in-law
Where are they
at? Rivera, Texas, so just south of Kingsville, about 4 hours south of here. So there's not much going on down there for craft beer anyway. But to take him just a Hefeweizen, which I guess to me I'm kind of like
pretty normal.
Yeah, and he was just like, whoa. Well, yeah, great. This is great. I mean, started trying to pound it like it was Miller Lite and then wondered why he felt bad the next day. But it's nice to kind of be like there to explain to people there's something out there for you and we will make it.
Yeah.
And it's evident that the brewing industry in Texas is exploding because this year especially, we're really making some, I'm talking about like the Texas Craft Brewers Guild, Charles and Caroline, thank goodness for all their work, really making some headway to get these broken beer laws fixed here in Texas. I believe it was 2017, in the winter, there was a Q&A with Garrett Oliver from Brooklyn Brock, Vince it was at Brash, and I will never forget that somebody asked Brock, well, what would you do, Brock, the owner and founder of St. Arnold, what would you do differently? And he's like, I wouldn't have opened here in Texas. That about broke my heart. Could you imagine Houston without St. Arnold? And he said it because Brock went to Rice University. He's a Houstonian. Could you imagine, because of the laws, if he could go back and do it differently, that's what he'd do. And so now it's like the presence of craft brewing the craft brewing industry is so dominant, and it's making headway. Like, I really feel like these, I'm crossing my fingers. I know it's not done yet, but I'm really hoping, these laws are going to, be changed, to benefit everyone, the distributors and breweries.
Yeah. It's, everything's grown and blown up rapidly. But we are unique in Houston, and then, even Houston compared to the rest of Texas, our climate is so unique, meaning it's hot, 50 weeks.
Damp.
It's all, yes. Just like you said, damp. Damp. It's like Houston seasonal, like the summer seasonal. That's like 9 months of the year. But you have a lot of time to really like gozas and maybe a Hefeweizen or whatever, wits or whatever your particular pilsners. And what's better than
No, this
American
year's the
wheats.
year of the Mexican lager.
It is the year of the Mexican lager.
It sure is.
Yeah, that's the year. It's the year.
Yeah.
This is our first year that we're going to package Echo and Conroe in Southern Star. Hey, I know, we're really excited about that.
And another thing that all this growth allows is not just the beer industry, but the peripheral beer-related things.
Oh yeah, festivals, businesses.
Other things related to
Kate,
beer.
over at Beer and Barty. Yeah, please. Microphone, please. When did you start craft beer and body?
Great story.
2 years ago?
It's like a year and a half.
Right? A year and a half, you went from a Houston-based thing, right? And now it's something that's a national...
we started nationwide.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't have states. We just had just a beer group on Facebook. And now, I say I don't know if it's a year and a half or 2 years old because we didn't work the business at first because we didn't really know what it was, and it kind of evolved, and we really found women needed a space to talk about craft beer. And besides women in the industry, this is all women. All women. So it's been about a year and a half since we started really working the group and expanded to every state: Hawaii, Alaska, Maine.
But it's basically so what your group is, and I'm part of that group, and so I get to see a lot of it. But you think Pink Boots as like a space for people in the industry? She's basically created a space for people that aren't in the industry and in the industry.
Yeah, both in and out of the industry. Correct.
And that's half of the equation. Right, that's half of the women in beer. Right, it's not just the women that make beer or make beer happen. It's the people that support beer and making it a women thing, and then creating something like that is absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, we really rely on women in the industry like Pink Boots to, spread the word and educate us, and, in return, Sorry, they're telling me to talk into the mic. In return, I think they learn a lot from being in a group with consumers, knowing, what newbies are looking for, new people in craft beer, what experienced drinkers that aren't in the industry are looking for. I think it's just one common place to really learn from each other. But I joined Pink Boots. This is my first time being at a Pink Boots event. Yeah.
Me too.
Because I really want to educate all the women in my group, and we focus on education. That's how we started, about beer, and who better than women in the industry. So I wanted to join Pink Boots and kind of see what they're all about. And I would love to do, actually we've already done collaborative events all over the nation with Pink Boots, and have these women educate, women that are fans of them. So
yeah, there's so much smarts at this table. I'll be honest. Yeah, I was super intimidated by today's show. I'll be honest. I was like, there's some interviews I sit and I'm like, man, I can't. I'll just do a lot of shoulder shrugging today. But yeah, there's so much smarts at this table.
You bring up a really good point. I mean, the men in our lives are also super, super important. So
Absolutely.
That's not what we're here about. We're not all women all the time, and only women, not at all. It's but we do like to work together and build that force. So
yeah.
And actually, the conference, Pink Boots, it was open to the public. It was open to anyone who wanted to attend.
Not just women.
Exactly.
I mean, it's so the Pink Boots generally, it's you have to be a self-identifying as a woman, right? So you have to be a woman in the industry, but saying that we're not excluding everybody, right? You're not excluding, a huge part. Like the majority of the beer industry is male dominated, and that's something you have to recognize. But within that, the Pink Boots is the whole job is to not exclude, but to help elevate, right?
Exactly.
You're trying to help those people that have that passion and have that drive to go through the craft beer. Because in any aspect of the craft beer industry, you have to have passion and drive. If you don't, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Right?
That's the key to everything. Absolutely.
And so the Pink Boots is basically just a platform. It's a platform to take with what you want from it. You can take education, you can take community, you can take just laughter. Like you can have just regular community, you can have educational, you can have all of that in one, but it's also it's a side, right? It's a side portion of the entire craft beer industry. We're not trying to be like, screw you dudes, you don't understand what I'm talking about. No, that's not at all. It's really just taking that aggressively supportive women group and aggressively supporting each other and their businesses and the people that support those, which a lot of those are men.
And I think a lot of times I'll tell the guys at work, I'm going to Pink Boots meeting. They're like, what? That's not fair. I was like, sorry, we have cool events. Like, we do fun stuff.
Yeah.
But also, it's not to exclude them. It's just to have a safe space for us.
Well, and
absolutely
that comes from jealous. Like, man, I want to go.
I wanna learn.
That's what that is.
Well, you are welcome. You are very welcome.
That, I think, is something that's valid, right? You're welcome to feel that way. But mind you, the entire beer industry has been male-dominated for how many centuries?
It still is.
So, and it still is,
still
right?
is.
So we're still pushing that.
Yeah.
And so it's not necessarily taking away anything from you because you guys, men already, not you particularly, but men already have the majority of scholarships and education and, mind you,
And opportunities.
An opportunity, right? Being a woman or being a person of color or being a woman of color trying to get into this industry is absolutely so much harder because you know what? When you look at it, when you think about the brewer, what's the person that comes into your mind? A white dude with a big beard. Right? That's the immediate idea of what your brewery
Not after this
and brewer
episode.
is. No, yeah, exactly. And now we're here to change it. But that's we're not trying to just be like fighting. We're trying to
I'll also admit
make it better. Like not better, but like more inclusive.
So we have a female brewer over at Eighth Wonder, and whenever we go to the meetings, we have a really supportive structure at work where we can take what we've done educationally, and we do have the guys in production come ask us what we've done. Not necessarily all of them, but and it is kind of a nice feeling that yes, we go out to do this thing, but they're interested, so we can then use that education that we've got to then share it with them as well. So it isn't exclusion. It's not like we're hiding it from you. We're secretly behind your backs, like
you're
trying to be better.
No,
they're passing it, and it helps us as a production team overall.
No, it's all good, and I can't speak for all dudes, but I'll speak for this dude. I applaud all of y'all, and I'm just super grateful that y'all decided to take the time and could make the time to be on the show today. And I'm glad. I couldn't be happier that y'all represent the Houston area craft beer culture and family and doing everything that y'all do for craft beer. It's just personally, I'm proud to of all that y'all do. It's a personal point of pride for me. So
I mean, it all comes down to making good quality craft beer, right? I mean,
and community.
That we all want to drink together.
Exactly.
With a smile.
Exactly.
And fun.
For the love of craft, right?
Right.
Absolutely. For the love of craft.
You can have really good beer, but if you don't have good community, good outlook, good personality, I don't know, not good personality, but like good
people are turned off by the bad. So
right. So if you don't have that, you can have the greatest beer in the world, but you're gonna have nothing.
And you see a lot of there are a lot of women who are who are mothers and wives who are sales reps,
multitasking,
who work those usually those nights, those weekends, to promote a company and their brand that they believe in. And again, like it's just like Sydney and Claire said, it's not about like we're not the what was the opposite, the Little Rascals or the he woman. But we're not the she man. We're not the she man. No, the she man haters. Absolutely not. It comes down to just having a solid community that supports you. And if you the support is there for women. We just kind of we need a little bit more, because it is a male dominated industry, which you
have to get used to.
Exactly.
Anyone in this industry has their story right in their back pocket of the some guy came up to them and said, "Oh, I don't believe you know anything about beer." And I'm like, "Excuse me, I've been in the beer industry." I'm like, "You have this whole long thing, but you can't ready to go. You can't you have it ready to go in your head, right? But there's also that same aspect is that you're also the face of something, right? You're the face of some industry. You're the face of all women in beer at that moment, and you're also the face of your company. You're face of everything else. So you have to be able to take that like immediate distrust, like not hate, but like disbelief in your knowledge and in what you've done with your life and in your education, and you have to be able to turn that in a both educational, fun, right? You have to turn it around with a, actually, let's talk about beer, and you just kind of go at it, right? You can't immediately just be like, you know what? No, I'm tired of this. You have to always be on. And that's something is a little bit of exhausting, honestly.
Yeah, you can do it with a smile and make them realize, actually, sir, I do know what we're talking about. We can now have a conversation.
Yeah,
that's
I think Claire is the queen of like witty comebacks.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, that's a baller move where you're just like, well, bless your heart, and then
you smile.
It just just a left hook of knowledge just right up the
smile makes it so much better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. One of the addresses at the Pink Boots conference was talking about diversity and inclusion, and that talk really stuck with me, because the presenter was telling us about, again, this is a room full of women. So women who own breweries, women that work for breweries, women who do sales, marketing, support, everything,
lawyers,
every kind of thing. And she's telling us, do not exclude your women audience, but do not exclude your men audience either. Train your employees to talk to everyone. To
even the Bud Light drinkers.
Exactly. Train them to talk to everyone, instill that passion in them. They're not, make sure that your employees are not just, male focused when they're giving a tour or something. Include the women there. And then she's telling the women, make sure that you're not also excluding the men. This is an inclusive community.
Yeah.
Just talk about
exactly,
beer.
Exactly.
Right? Honestly, I wish it was
It
just
should
as
be
simple
that
as that.
simple, yeah.
I'm just like, let's just talk about beer. That's all I want to
It's
do.
not a man beer or
Don't-
a female
yeah.
beer. It's like, can
Exactly.
we just enjoy the beer.
It's just beer.
Although the hops are female.
Well, okay, if you're gonna go into
I'm just
that
saying if there's
kind of-
one side of it, so if you could make the argument that beer's
That's
more,
true.
more feminine. Deal with that, guys. Anyway,
Yeast is asexual.
Oh, there you go. There we go.
get that clip. Use that.
Can I have that on a shirt?
Yeah. That's
Is asexual.
the yeast is asexual. All right. Well, due to time
I love
constraints,
it.
we must wrap up this episode. I could sit here and listen to you guys chit chat about all this all day long. This has been educational and enlightening and fun. It's mostly just fun, and we've had some great beers. And
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Thank you so
very
much.
You
Yes,
kidding?
thank you so much.
literally any time. I mean, unless I have to be at work, which is what I have to now. But, thank you all so much, and everybody, if you're just get out there and support the local craft beer community, but look into Pink Boots if that's something that suits your fancy.
Also,
and,
Girls Pint Out.
Thank you.
And
GPO.
Craft Beer
Craft Beer
Girls,
Girls, we're
Beer
all-
and Body.
We're
being
all in
right,
it together. And again, I know I can speak for Kate's organization as well as Girls Pint Out. Again, it may be Girls Pint Out, it may be Craft Beer, Craft Beer Girls, Beer and Body. We're not. Neither organization is exclusive. We're all inclusive. We all have events that we want, everyone to attend.
Talk about beer.
and support the independent craft beer industry here in Houston and surrounding areas.
Because it's the best.
Yeah.
It is.
Yep.
All right.
There you go.
Well, Mary, thanks for hosting this.
Oh, thank you,
Thank
Josh.
you, Mary.
Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you guys for being here.
So-
Thank you for being
So
our
excited to eat a
our
grilled
badass admin,
I'm
Mary.
going to take you everywhere. You're just my cheerleader.
She's like the most aggressively aggressive supportive human being. She's the photographer and
that as
also
an
the
award
personal.
every year.
Really? Oh my God! It's like the Dundies but
aggressive
Pink
supporter.
Boots. This is gonna happen.
Yes.
Sparks are flying.
The golden boot. It's happening now.
Yeah.
I'm making this happen. Continue on.
All right. Well, thanks.
Thank you again.
Yes, thank you, guys. All right, everybody. Thank you, and we'll wrap
Cheers,
it up
y'all.
there. Yeah, cheers.
Cheers. Woo.
Guys, thanks for listening to this episode of InterBrews. This is 197, 200. It's in the works to be at St. Arnold with Brock and
Woo.
Aaron.
Ooh.
We'll figure it out. So 200. I can't believe it. Anyway.
Crazy.
That's crazy. But remember the day that you listened to episode 197 of
Will.
InterBrews.
We will.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.
Thank you all for listening. Hopefully I've got everything set the way it's supposed to. Everybody, this is InterBrews. It didn't work. I always do that. I forget to do that part.
The preceding has been a presentation of Stewed Productions.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed this episode of InterBrews. If you did, hey, show us some support. Go to our Patreon page, become a Patreon supporter, and there's exclusive interviews and episodes just for you. If you do that, if you've enjoyed the show, get a little more. And help us go on for another 7 years. It's been 7 years. We want to go on for 7 more. I guess. That's a long time. 14 years for a podcast. Has anybody done that? I don't think so. Anyway, show your support if you'd like. We really appreciate it a ton. And exclusive shows. So thank you in advance. And we'll see you next episode of InterBrews.